All right, here we go. So let's remember the rules. They still apply. If you have a question, you have to raise your hand. All right, so, okay, yes. So, okay, so Maluleke, I see some people, they're still joining. So as I'm greeting, if you remember the last time we're doing the addition and we did the rounding off and composition, we also did the column method. So we're still on the topic of addition, and we're also going to look at subtraction today, and we're going to use the breaking down method and the column method. Okay, I see the charts. If you want to say something, I won't have much time to go to the charts unless I tell you guys that you have to answer something on the charts. Okay, I see other kids are still joining. Let's keep the charts relevant to the lesson. No chatting amongst yourselves. You only use the chart to answer. So those are the rules. And then, as I said, okay, I think we can start now. As I said, we're going to do addition and subtraction using breaking down and column method. Okay. So by the end of the lesson, you'll be able to use breaking down method to add, so you'll be able to do that. And you're also going to be able to use the breaking down method to subtract. You're also going to be able to use the column method to subtract. So those are the two methods that you're going to concentrate on today. Hopefully by the end of the lesson, you'll be a master of those lessons. And then prior knowledge, what is it that you have to know when we use the breaking down method? If you remember our first lesson, we did the expanded notation. So you have to know expanded notation. That is the prior knowledge. So that is the knowledge that you come with as we start this method. For example, so let's check the first example there. We have 5,832 plus 3,940. So you have to use expanded notation to break down the numbers. Okay, I see there's raised hands there. Okay. Okay, yes, Mo?
Ma'am, it says grade 4 here. On the slot, it's for grade 5.
It's for grade 5. Okay, what is it?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, what are you seeing on your screen?
We're seeing grade 4.
You are seeing grade 4. Okay, let me, okay, I just stopped. Let me reshare again. Okay. Okay, so you're supposed to see that. Are you seeing it?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. We are grade 5 here. Are you seeing that?
Yes.
Okay, so you must see 5,832 plus 3,900.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, good. Thank you, Mo.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to use the breaking down method. Now let's look at that first example. So the numbers, remember we said now in term 2, you are doing 4-digit numbers. So 5,832 plus 3,940. So you have to expand, you have to use expanded notation to break down the numbers. So I just rewrote the numbers here. This is how you're also going to write it in your book. So we are now going to break 5,832. So when we break it, remember we have to put it in brackets. This first number, we put it in brackets. So it's 5,000 plus 800 plus 30 plus 2. And then we close the bracket. Then we don't forget the operation there, the operation sign. So it's plus, and then we open the bracket to break the second number. So there is 3,000 plus 900 plus 40. We don't have any units there. And then after breaking it down, we now have to add according to the values. So then it's 5,000 plus 3,000 gives us 8,000. And then after, we have to add the hundreds. You see, I'm using the horizontal breaking down, so it makes it easier when you add. And then 800 plus 900 gives us 1,700. Check as I was writing, I'll put each place value under each other so that you don't have your one being under hundreds, for example. And then the next one is tens, which is 30 plus 40 gives us 70. And then the last one is units, which is 2 plus 0. It gives us 2. After you've broken down the numbers, then you can add. So as you add, we can go back to the column method. So 0 plus 0 plus 0, that gives us 2. And then there you can see 7. And then 0 plus 7 gives us 7. And then 8 plus 1 gives us 9. So that is how we do the breaking down method. And then let's look at example 2. Okay, so the instruction always remains the same. Okay, all right. I think the issue of seeing the grade 4 is sorted now. Luandile, I'm sure you can see now. All right. So looking at example 2, we add the following numbers using the breaking down method. Remember now there is 5-digit numbers. So this is a 5-digit number. We're adding it to a 4-digit number. And then obviously we have to break it down first. Okay, so the 25,452, when we break it down, is 20,000 plus 5,000 plus 400 plus 50 plus 2. So you see, these things are correlating. If you know how to break down, when you get a question of expanded notation, you're going to get it right because already you're mastering the breaking down. And then plus 8,000. So we close the bracket, and then plus 8,000 plus 400 plus 10 plus 0. So in this case, can you see that we don't have any 10,000s on the second number? So you just say 0 so that you don't get confused, because we have 0, 10,000s. And then we now go to breaking down the thousands. So on our thousands, we have 5,000 and we have 8,000. So they will say 5,000 plus 8,000, which gives us 18,000. And then from the thousands, we go to the hundreds. So it's 400 plus 400, we get 800. And then from there, we move on to the tens. So on the tens, we have 50 and 10 there. So let's check when it comes to units. We don't have any units on the second number. So the units on the first number is 2. And then on the second one, we just put a 0 as a placeholder there. And then when we add that, our final answer is going to give us 33,862. Do we understand this one up to so far? Okay, let me see what you guys is. Okay, the chats are gone. So now this is the time we're going to do it together. We're going to do it together. So we're going to do the sum together. So this is the sum: 12,258 plus 15,687. Remember, guys, we are using. Okay, Pearl have a question. Okay, before we do it together, let us hear. I don't know if our admin is able to see Pearl. If you can raise your hand.
Ma'am, you see on the one where we have to add, when we have to break down 25,452 plus 8,410. Ma'am, why by the 10
Okay, I
in
want to
this
go back.
number?
Is it, wait, I went back. You are on the screen, eh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes. Your question?
Ma'am, on the yellow part, we can,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am, by the 10, you added a 0, but on the last one, we did not have a 0.
On the
here
last
where you
one.
said 8,000 plus 40 plus 10 plus 0. Are we supposed to add the 0 whereas there's no number?
Oh yes, remember, Pearl, I said when we started, I remember you were here, when we started with expanded notation, I said you can either write the 0 or not. But in this case, I wrote the 0 so that when we come here, you don't get confused. When you come to the units, you don't get confused and then you don't know what to add to. So the 0, I put it as a placeholder so that you are able to see we only have one unit there.
That's
So when
fine.
you do expanded notation, I said it's your choice. You can either put a 0 or not. But in this case, I said the 0 is acting as a placeholder so that you can see it's 2 and then we don't have any units. So which is 0 is still not going to change our answer there. You see that? So it's still 2 plus nothing, which gives us 0.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, we can move on. Thank you, Pearl. Okay. Okay, I'll entertain the other questions. Let's do this one together and then we'll come to the question. If you still not answered after I've explained this one, then please do raise your hand to ask the question. Okay, so now, before Pearl asked, I think, I hope some of you were clarified there. Thank you for that clarification, Pearl. So we're adding 12,258 plus 15,687. So these numbers, they are 10,000 and here is 10,000. So it's almost the same values. So the first thing that you have to do, we have to break down the first number and close it in brackets. I say it every time that you come to maths, kindly bring your scribbler so that you're able to also do it, because maths is about doing. If you don't do it, it's not going to stick in your head. So we have to break down the first number and close it in brackets. And then the second step that you have to do, you have to break down the second number and close it in brackets. And then the last step that you do, we have to group the numbers according to their place value. So according to the place value, and then thereafter we can add. Okay, so I did that. On the first one, it's 10,000. Okay, I think, all right. Oh, okay, people are already giving the answers. All right, I know there's kids that are very good in math and they're very excited to answer, but not everyone is on the same pace. So the first number, when you break it, is 10,200, 10,000 plus 2,000 plus 200 plus 50 plus 8. And then we close the brackets. It's very important to put the brackets. Otherwise, if you don't put it, your work is going to look so untidy. And then we plus there, and then we expand the second number is 10,000 plus 5,000 plus 600 plus 80 plus 7. After you're done with the expanded notation, you're almost done. So then grouping the numbers according to the place value. So 10,000 here and another 10,000, we group them together and we add to get 20,000. Then we come to the thousands, 2,000 plus 5,000 gives us 7,000. And then we come to the hundreds. The hundreds is 200 plus 600, it gives us 800. And then we come to the tens as 50 plus 80, and then it gives us 130. And then we come to the units, it's 8 plus 7, and then it gives us 15. So the result there, it's 5, because it's 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 there. It's 5, and then 3 plus 1 is 4, and then 8 plus 1 is 9. 0 plus 7 is 7, and then 2 plus nothing there is 2. Okay, so that is the explanation of adding using the expanded notation. I see there is the hand raised. If maybe we can unmute one or two to hear what they want to say.
Sebekhipha ama-answer and wrong. 3,000, 33,000 whether
Yes.
wrong balaleli.
No, said he's lost.
You
Who is
speak so
lost?
fast.
I'm speaking so fast.
Yeah.
Who is lost?
No.
Okay, Neo. Okay, Neo is Neo. Am I speaking to Neo? because I want to know where Neo is lost. Neo, can you raise your hand so that you can talk? Can Neo? Is Neo going to come through so that Neo can tell me where he is lost and I can go back there? Yes, is that Neo? Not. Oh, okay, Neo, you need to know what, okay, all right. So Neo, I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the lesson. I'm not sure if we're here. I said today we are doing, okay, we are adding using the breaking down method. Okay, let me just say before I can re-explain for Neo, our lessons, they start at 11. So please make sure that you join. I don't know what time Neo joined, but make sure that you join exactly. We can join 2 minutes before 11 so that you can get what I say from the beginning. So I'll just go through what I said, Neo. So I said we are doing addition today. We started with it on, was it on Thursday? Yes, we started with it on Thursday, and on Thursday we did rounding off and compensation. So today we are adding using the breaking down method, and we're also going to use column method to check our answers if they are right. So on breaking down method, I said the prior knowledge, what you must know is expanded notation or how to expand numbers. So when we break down the numbers according to their values, we are actually doing the expanded notation. So on the numbers that I gave you, the Neo, and the others that may also be lost, we have 12,258, and we are adding it to 15,687. So I said first, these are the rules that I wrote here. We have to break down the first number and close it in brackets. So the first number is 10,000 plus 2,000 plus 200 plus 50 plus 8. So this is the first number that we broke, that we have broken down. And then the second number, we also break it down. So we break down, it becomes 10,000 plus 5,000 plus 600 plus 80 plus 7. So after we are done breaking down the numbers, we now have to group the numbers according to their place values. So when you group the numbers, we have to take the 10,000s together, and then the thousands together, the hundreds together, like that. So 10,000 plus 10,000 gives us 20,000. And then 2,000 plus 5,000 gives us 7,000. So you see 10,000 and 10,000 is the same place value. And then 2,000 and 5,000 is also still thousands. So it's the same place value. And then 200 and 600 is also the same place value, it's hundreds. So we add them together to give us 800. And then 50 plus 80, those are tens. We add them together to give us 130. And then the 8 and the 7s are units. So we add them together to give us 15. So thereafter, and I said it's important when you are writing them, make sure you write them under the same place value. So as you see, I've lined them up properly. I didn't put the 15 under the 2. I put the 5 under the units and then the 1 under the tens. And then we add. So these zeros, we are adding them to 5 to give us 5. And then 3 plus 1 gives us 4 because on top is just zeros. And then 8 plus 1 gives us 9. And then 0 plus 7 gives us 7. And then 2 plus nothing, because we don't have any other 10,000s there, then we have 2. So that is how we do, we use the breaking down method, right? And then, so yes, the answer I see, you are writing the answers, okay? Okay, that shows that you guys understood. So we're going to move on to the next one, where I said, Is Neo still there so that Neo can tell us if he understood? Is it a she or he? Neo, are you able to talk on the mic? Okay, I see there's some hands raised. If maybe you can unmute one for me. Okay, yes. Helen? Okay, so if you see that you have been unmuted, please communicate so that we don't wait because we're chasing time. Okay, I'll continue. Since the one was unmuted, they didn't talk. All right, so they so that was addition using the breaking down method. Now, still using the breaking down method, we are going to look at subtraction. And then there's some important facts that I want you guys to remember. Some of you, I know they still have the misconception of what I'm going to talk about. So the first important fact about subtraction is a bigger number cannot be subtracted from a smaller number. For example, 2 minus 5, it cannot happen. This is the same as saying you have 2 apples and then I come to you and I say, okay, I see Pearl here or more. I'll say more, give me 5 apples when you are carrying 2 apples. So never subtract a bigger number from a smaller number. It does not or it cannot happen. And then you are not allowed. I've seen this many times where learners, if it cannot happen, they just swap. So you are not allowed to swap the arrangement of numbers. So for example, if it's 2 minus 5, you cannot say 5 minus 2 so that you're able to subtract. So yes, some of you can see that it's 2 minus 5 and it can't. And then instead of going to borrow, you then decide to say 5 minus 2 so that it agrees. No, you don't do that. And then the last fact, in cases where it cannot happen, or we usually say it can't. If I say 2 minus 5, most of the learners will say it can't. So in cases where it can't, you have to borrow 10 from next door. If next door is 0, you move on to another next door. If it's 0 again, you move on to next door. I'll show you now how. So for example, the example of borrowing. So this is the first method that I used. I used the column method so that you can understand the borrowing concept. So here the numbers that we have is 58,003 minus 38,426. So this is the column method. And then I'm just going to take you through that. So you see, I put unit under units, tens under tens, 100 under hundreds, and thousands under thousands, then 10,000 under 10,000. Very important for you to do place value. And then you see, we start the top number is bigger. That's what you always have to do. Make sure when you do the column method, the top number is bigger and the small number, the top number is bigger and the smaller number is underneath there. So the first one, we work from right going to left. And then 3 minus 6. So it's 3 minus 6, or 3 take away 6, or 3 subtract 6. Whichever one is comfortable, you use it. So 3 minus 6, it can't. So you cannot go and say, Thomas, I'm just giving an example because I see here. So Thomas, you can't go and say 6 minus 3 because 3 minus 6, you saw that it can't. So 3 minus 6, it can't. We have to borrow next door. What is next door is 0. Can you borrow there? No, we cannot. And then you have to go next door again. Is 0. Can you borrow 0? No. So I also want to give you a practical example. So say this is your house, and then you want to make tea, and then you find out there's no sugar. And then you go next door. This is next door, you know? You go next door, and then you borrow sugar. They say, no, we don't have sugar. And then, can you borrow? No, you cannot because they don't have sugar. And then you go to the other house after next door, next door, and then you I'm here to borrow sugar. They say, we don't have sugar. Can you borrow? No, you cannot, because there is no sugar. And then you go to the now 1, 2, this is now the third house. You go to the third house and then you find there is plenty of sugar. Okay, so yes, we can borrow here. Now, are you going to move from this one, from this house, and jump and go to your house when you know that these ones don't have sugar also? Are you going to do that? No, you're not going to do that. You got, because we have humanity, and math is real, right? So because of humanity, so you're going to give these ones, these next door neighbors, they said they don't have sugar, so you have to give them one. So you give them one here. So when we borrow from these ones, we borrow 8 from 8, and then 8 becomes 7. And then we take that one that you borrowed, we put it here on the hundreds, and then we now there's 10. So we can borrow now. So you borrow 10 becomes 9. And then after we have borrowed for this neighbor, so we also borrow from this neighbor because they have 10. So we borrow 1 or we borrow 10, and then we now left with 9. And then here we put the 10 here on the 3. So now we have a 13. We don't have a 4. That's the difference between addition and subtraction. If it was addition, this was going to be 4, but it's not. It's subtraction, so we borrow 10. So now we have 13 minus 6. So 13 minus 6 gives us 7. 9 minus 2 gives us 7. And then 9 minus 4 gives us 5. And then here, remember we had a 7 before, because we borrowed the 8 and the 8 became 7. So 7 minus 8, it can't. What do? We borrow from the next door, and then next door here they had 4, so we borrow a 10, and then we have here now 4 left, and then we take the 10, we put it here on the 7. So we now have a 17. Then 17 minus 8 is 9, and then 4 minus 3 is 1. So this one is the column method. So this one is the column method. Let me just go back there. And then before I can come here on the second example, is there anyone with a question? So if you have a question, I think some of you know, if you have a question, you raise your hand, and then I'll answer. Just raise your hand, they'll unmute you. So you check your hand. If they unmute, it will say on this red thing that you have been unmuted, then you talk. Is there anyone? I see 4 people have raised their hands. Is there anyone with a question before we move on to this one? Admin, if you can just unmute one of them. There's 4 people with raised hands.
Hi, Nancy. We're unmuting the people, but it's not unmuting on my side. It keeps the students muted at all times.
Okay, so they can't actually ask.
Yes, I'm trying to unmute, but it's not allowing me to do it.
Okay, all right. So I'll then have to go to the chart. Okay, and see what they say. All right. Okay, so now we look at the second example using the column method. So it's calculate 10,000 minus 9,325. So it's 10,000, so it's 10000 minus 9,325. So place value again, very important. You see the 5 is under units, the 2 is under tens, the 3 is under hundreds, the 9 is under thousands, and then we do not have any 10,000s. So there is nothing on the 10,000s there. If you want, you can write a 0, but we don't usually write it. And then we come 0 minus 5. Okay, and so let me just address this. I saw on the charts, if you say you don't understand, I don't do one example. So check the other examples as we're going, because I don't do one example, because I know some people don't get it at the first time, which is fine. We learn differently. So just check on the second example also. And I'll also now check on the chats because we experiencing where you guys can not be unmuted, a legal difficulty. So I'll check what you're saying on the chat after I'm done explaining. So then we say 0 minus 5, 0 minus 5. Remember, it can't. Okay, most of the learners here, they say either they say 0 minus 5 is 0, or they say 0 minus 5 is 5. 0 means nothing. Nothing, take away 5. Can you take away 5 from nothing? That's how you must look at it. I also always tell my learners, 0 take away 5 means, remember, 0 is nothing. So nothing, take away 5. Can you take away 5 from nothing? It's like if I come to you now and say you have nothing, and I say give me 100,000 rands. Are you going to give me? No, you're not, because you have nothing. So take it like that and don't confuse it. So 0 minus 5, it cannot, because you cannot take out 5 from 0. So we have to go next door. Remember that sugar? Next door, they don't have sugar. And then you come this side. They don't have sugar again. You come to the 1,000 next door. They don't have sugar. Then you have to come now to the 10,000 next door. Finally, someone has sugar, right? So we borrow from them. And then when we borrow from one, we're going to be left with 0 because we borrowed 1. It's 1 here. So we're going to be left with 0. And then after the one that we borrowed, we put it. We don't jump. Do not jump and come and put it here. Your answer is going to be wrong. If you jump and put it here, you're going to have your answer just as 5. And how are you going to subtract these ones? So you don't jump these ones. You give them that 1. Remember, it's a 10. So you give them the 10, and then now these ones have a 10. The thousands have a 10. So we borrow from them. It's now possible to borrow. We borrow from them. And then when we borrow 1 from them, we left with 9. And then we put it here on the hundreds. And then now we have a 10 on the hundreds. We then borrow 1 from the 10 on the hundreds, and then we left with 9, and then we put it here, the one that we borrowed. We put it here, and then thereafter we still borrow from here, and then we left with 9, and the one that we borrowed, we then now put it here where we actually wanted it. So now the sugar have reached the units finally. And then 10 minus 5 gives us 5. 9 minus 2 gives us 7, and then 9 minus 3 gives us 6. 9 minus 9 gives us 0, and then 0 minus nothing gives us nothing then. You can, if you don't write this 0. If you write your answer as 675, it's still fine. So I want you to check something also to see that you're on the right track. So here we borrowed 1 became 0, right? And then anything after, you see, you must have the 9 there and the 9 there and the 9 there, showing that you borrowed also from here. It became a 10. That's why we canceled. So 1, 0, it's a 10. Now we have a 10. We canceled. It became 9. And then same applies to here. It was a 10. Remember, I said we borrowed 10s, not ones in subtraction. So now the 10 became a 9. Same applies to here. The 10 became a 9. And then here, you don't cancel because there's no other number here besides the units. So that is how we do the column method. Okay, let me see what's happening on the chart.
Hi, Nancy.
Yes, are they able to talk now?
We're gonna try. It should be fixed, so let's see if we can unmute. I've got Slatter Datesman on my side.
Okay.
Hi.
Oh yeah, I can hear. Yes, later.
I'm just asking if you can please slow down a little.
Okay. Okay, I'll do that. I will explain slowly. Okay, where are you lost those later? Okay, it's gone. Okay, all right. Okay, I see another. Let me take questions. Because I saw the chat was exploding.
Miss, what if there's only a unit at the unit, and then is just zeros as you go by. Like there's only an unit at the end of the number, and then when you go to the thousands, the hundreds, and the tens, and then the 10,000s, there's no number.
Okay, so are you saying what if here say it's a 6
Yes,
and then
there's no.
there's 0 zeros here?
Yes, miss.
Okay, what do you think will happen? Which number will then be on top? Remember, I said on top is the bigger number.
Yes, miss.
Yeah, so the arrangement is going to change. If here it's just 6, this 9,325 is going to go on top because now it's the bigger number. Remember, I can, yes, because I cannot say 6 minus 9,325. It will be 9,325 minus 6. So then it means 6 will come here on at the bottom of 5, and then we'll say 5 minus 6. It can't, then we'll have to borrow. Yeah?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, miss.
Okay. All right. Another question?
Okay, we have Pearl.
Yes, Carl?
Ma'am, I cannot, oh, sorry. So, ma'am, why are we supposed to write the 0? And why are we also are we allowed to use the biggest number on the top only, or do we always have to have the smallest number also on the top?
Okay. So I presume you're asking about this 0. I say this 0, you can either write it or not. And then to answer the second question, the biggest number should always be on top. Always. Until you reach grade 7. So in grade 7, you're going to start with integers. So 2 minus 5, it can in grade 7, but now it can't. So always on top is the bigger number. Always, always, always. Ne?
Ma'am, I was saying that, do we always have to have the biggest number from the sum on the top?
Yes, you have to. Always, Nepal.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, last question.
Okay, we have Nia.
Yes, Nell.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
are we busy with breaking down, or are we gonna be doing more?
Okay, so remember we did breaking down for addition, and then now is subtraction. So we started with the column method, and then now we're going to do subtraction using the breaking down method.
Okay.
That's where we're going now. Yeah. Okay, so I'll continue the same way we use addition. Okay, the same way we used to add using the breaking down method, we can also use it to subtract. So the only thing that will change now is the operation sign. So we're going to use the same principles of breaking down the numbers, and then instead of adding them now, we're just going to subtract. So instead of saying plus, instead of adding the values, we're just going to subtract. Let me try to speak slow so that the others, especially Slety, can hear. So on the example I gave you, 28,564 minus 17,341. So we have to break down the numbers. The first one, if we break it, it becomes 20,000 plus 8,000 plus 500 plus 60 plus 4. So very important, we are subtracting, right? Maybe someone is asking, why is MEM using the plus? Remember, this number can only become this number if we add these broken down pieces. If we say 20,000 minus 8,000 minus 500, we are not going to go back to 28,564. So when you open the brackets and break down the number, even though we are subtracting, when we are breaking down the number, we still have to put the plus. So it's 20,000 plus 8,000 plus 500 plus 60 plus 4, and then we close the bracket. After closing the bracket, check what I did. And then I put the subtraction sign because we are going to subtract this broken down, the first broken down number, we are going to subtract it from this second number. Can you see that? So I know misconceptions when it comes to this one. Learners confuse it. So yes, we are subtracting. Do not write minus here. On inside the brackets, it's plus. And then minus, so we break down the second number. 10,000 plus 7,000 plus 300 plus 40 plus 1. So the first step, we have broken down the numbers. And then after breaking down the numbers, remember this means that this whole number, we are subtracting this one from this whole number. Then we now group the numbers according to their place values. So we put the 10,000s together. So it's 20,000 minus 10,000. Remember, we are subtracting. So you see where the subtraction comes in. 20,000 minus 10,000 gives us 10,000. 8,000, this 8,000, right? Minus 7,000, this 7,000. So 8,000 minus 7,000 gives us 1,000. Now we come to the hundreds. 500 minus 300 gives us 200. And then now we have to come to the tens. 60 minus 40 gives us 20. And then units, 4 minus 1 gives us 3. And then we have to add the total here to get the correct answer. So our answer there, we're adding, so don't subtract. We only subtract the values here. So we only get to subtract the values. So do not subtract here, we have to add the answer together. So 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 3 gives us 3 there. And then there, nothing plus 2 gives us 2. And then 0 plus 0 plus 2 gives us 2. And then 0 plus 1 gives us 1. And then 1 plus nothing gives us 1. So our answer is 11,223. So that is the breaking down method. That is the subtraction using the breaking down method. And then let's check the second example. So we do the same thing. 32,685 minus 21,241. So we break down the number. 30,000 plus 2,000 plus 600 plus 80 plus 5. And then minus 20,000 plus 1,000 plus 200 plus 40 plus 1. And then you see where our subtraction comes in. 10,000, 30,000 minus 20,000 gives us 10,000. 2,000 minus 1,000 gives us 1,000. 600 minus 200 gives us 400. 80 minus 40 gives us 40. And then 5 minus 1 gives us 4. And then you just add here and check how I also placed. Check how I also placed the numbers. See 4 there, we are plussing, it's a 4. And then 4 there, we plus, it's another 4. And then another 4 there, then it's 1, and then it's 1. So that is how we do the breaking down method. I'm finishing off, we're running out of time. So this is the breaking down method. Okay, so let's prove that by using the column method. I want to prove if 46,286 minus 27,897. So now we are subtracting using the column method, right? So here, the original numbers are in black, and whatever that we added is in red. 6 minus 7, it cannot happen. You can also get this lesson on YouTube. If you're not following us, you can rewatch it on YouTube. Or maybe let me give one person a chance to explain this before me talking. Yeah. one of the people with raised hands, I want someone who understood and maybe they can explain for us. Yes, if we can just unmute one. I see we are out of time. Okay, so many hand raised. If you understand the subtraction using the column method before we wrap up. Okay, see Pearl Sand is up, Neo is up. If the host can unmute one person for us.
We
Okay,
have
we'll
Nia.
Oh, hello.
Neo. Let's start here from the units.
So ma'am, you're saying that units, if we're doing with addition, you start by the units. Like let's say 7 plus 4, and then you get the answer. And if it's a 2-digit number, then we carry the other number.
Yes, but now we are subtracting, right? Remember, we are subtracting. Okay, let's do this together. Don't go. Okay, let's start. Let me just remove. Okay, yes. So we're subtracting. We still, now this is the column method. So we start from the units. Okay, so let's go now. We start from here. The black ones are the original numbers, and then the plus 10 is where we carry it. Ne? So let's start here now.
So ma'am, so you're saying that I must minus 6 minus 7.
Yes.
So I'm gonna say 6 minus 7, which I cannot because 6 is smaller than 7. So then I go to the tens
Yes,
to
well,
borrow from then. I
yes.
borrow from the 10. I take 1, it's gonna be 9. I mean 7.
Yes.
And then that's gonna be 16.
Yes.
So I say 16 minus 7, which is gonna be 9.
Yeah, so you're just counting your fingers. You are right, Neo. Yes, let's carry on.
And then we're gonna say 9 minus, we're gonna say 7 minus 9, which is smaller again. So we go to the next one and borrow, which we're gonna take 1, it's gonna be 1, and then there it's gonna be 9. 9 minus 9 is 0.
No.
What?
Okay, well, on the tens, remember we're left with 7. So then we say 7 minus 9, it cannot happen. And then you borrowed from the hundreds. So
Yeah.
now 7 becomes?
Sorry?
7 becomes?
7
This
becomes,
remember
we
we
say
borrowed here.
we borrowed. 7
Yes.
becomes 8.
Remember I
Wait.
said when we borrow on subtraction, it doesn't become 8. What does
Oh,
it become?
6.
No, we are borrowing a 10, not a 1 on subtraction. So 7 will become?
Ma'am,
7.
I'm lost.
No, you're not. 7 plus 10?
17.
Yes. So now that 7 is now 17. Continue. Then 17 minus?
9.
Yes, what is 17 minus 9?
8.
It's 8. And then let's move on to the hundreds. How many hundreds were we left with? Remember, we originally had 2 and we borrowed. So now how
Yeah.
many hundreds are we left with?
How many hundred we left it? 1.
1, yes. And then we say 1 minus?
1 minus 8.
What is 1 minus 8?